Howdy, folks. I'm Jenny Geist. You all know that I really love the Mario Kart series, having released over an hour of content last year dissecting the series' most controversial and recent release, and that series is currently about to reach a turning point. As of last month, Tour has officially stopped receiving new content, and as of next week, the final wave of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Pass will be released. So basically, next week will be the first time since 2019 where we have no idea what the future of the series is. And coincidentally, it's right as the Switch is ending its life and the Switch successor seems to be on the horizon. So, to discuss the state of the series, I am joined by fellow creators and members of the Mario Kart community, MarieMoments and TruelyJohn, to discuss the future of the Mario Kart series. So, Marie, John, how about you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Marie. I have been on the Jenny Geist channel before once for a discussion on Superliminal,
Yep, you have.
but it was so long ago that I wasn't even Marie back then. I am a person. I make videos sometimes. I'm mainly known for being a fan of Kirby, certain cartoons, and yeah, the Mario Kart series. So I have plenty to discuss here on my ideas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And John?
Howdy, I'm Truly John, but I'm usually go by, and I'm a big fan of Mario Kart series. This is the first time I've ever been on Jenny's channel, but I've watched a good chunk of her videos.
Thank you.
Shout out to her for bringing me on here.
Of course, yeah.
And you usually find me making art and data mining games, whatever I find.
hmm Yeah, I'm glad to have you on because you're one of the biggest Mario Kart fans I know. Both of you are, and I really think since because of your both being such passionate fans and having such interesting perspectives on the series, that it'd be perfect to have you first discuss the current state we're at. Because as I just mentioned, Tour is done having new content, and the booster pass is almost done. So, do either of you have any thoughts on either of those?
How the hell is Rosalina's Ice World in Wave 6?
it's it's funny that they had the original slot that was probably going to be Piranha Plant Pipeline, and then it wasn't. So there's still one tour course that hasn't been in there. But they instead of doing Airship Fortress like everyone was hoping, they did Rosalina Ice World, which wasn't even an elaborate remake in tour. So it's just a direct port. So I don't know why they did that, but I mean, I kind of like that. There's some surprise.
No, same. I'm honestly surprised because it feels like there was a very specific 3DS course which was highlighted in Tour a lot. Didn't really get an overhaul, but was definitely somewhat of more of a fan favorite. I'm saying Wario's Shipyard because I could have very
That's a good
much seen
Oh
point.
that
yeah,
being added if there was another 3DS track.
That's a good point. Like, I don't see people talk about that course that often, but it is. I see it more than Rosalie and Ice World, and I think it would also benefit from 8 Deluxe more with the anti gravity. But I mean, we could that's a topic for once we get to the retro track discussion. John, what are your thoughts on the end of tour and booster?
I think it's real interesting because tour ending is kind of like signaling they're ramping up for something big. Something's coming because they want to get staff off of that, and they're ramping up for something big. They completely shut down for a live service game. That's a sign if I've seen one.
Especially for one that's so goddamn popular.
Yeah, it's one of their most popular mobile games, and even that isn't lasting, which is partially probably just because Nintendo was done with mobile. But considering that Tour was the basis for the Mario Kart 8 DLC, and both of those are ending at the exact same time, I don't think that's a coincidence. Because if either of them were successful enough that they wanted to keep going, they wouldn't be ending Tour. But the fact that one of them is dying means that both of them are probably on their way out. And on that note, actually, since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now is going to have 96 courses as of next week, it's so gargantuan in size. One of the biggest elephants in the room about the next Mario Kart is how do you make it stand out? Because, I mean, there's no way they can do 96 from the base game for the next one. Even 48 would be a stretch. So, is there any ideas you have for how Mario Kart 10 could immediately stand out from the crowd mechanically or visually or any other way? How about you start, Marie?
Oh, I have so many. There are two main ideas that I can get into before the general ideas which I think most would think of. And I'd say my first proposal is just going full on Diddy Kong Racing. Just
Ah.
have segments where the glider just becomes a full on plane and you can fly around. Have a fully fledged story mode, of course, because that's something that the Mario Kart series has needed for a while and could be done in an interesting way, and maybe even throw in crossover characters that feel organically added, like Banjo and Conker kind of were back then.
I think that could work actually, because I mean, I have we're planning on having us talk about the Nintendo crossover stuff a little bit later, but I'll just spoil a little bit now. Is I think having some of that organic stuff actually really adds to the game, and like right now we have Link, Isabelle, Villager, Inkling. I think you could expand upon that in subtle ways with, say, Pikmin and stuff. And I think if you had that contextualized within a story mode, that could also add a lot to it.
Yeah, no, I think having like an explorable hub with all the tracks put into would be really cool. And I think one of the best ways to put all those tracks into a story context actually relates to a character Nintendo very recently brought back and now needs an opportunity to bring back into their games.
Oh.
That being Foreman Spike. Because okay, so imagine that Foreman Spike wants to like tear down all the old tracks or all the tracks in general and replace them with like a Mega Mall or some shit. And that is what Mario and gang have to like do throughout the story mode. They have to like beat everyone who's working with him in races to like try to like stop the destruction of it.
That'd be very cute.
I feel like that's like the perfect way to reintroduce him into the series, and it could end off with him being a playable character and even like bringing back the excavator car from DS.
That's so 90s, like the whole like we have to stop this place from being shut down by the big business guy. That would be fun because one of the ideas that I've had, and I've discussed it with John before actually, is sort of going in a little more on the route switching that the Mario Kart 8 DLC did, and having it be more contextualized within each track, and having like almost each track be like midway through construction. So you'll go through one lap, and then between laps you'll see the toads or whatever changing the course up with these little supplies to make go this way instead of that way. And I think that would also fit well with that theme.
The drill from the Mario Kart 8 beta concepts returns?
I mean, I think a drill item with the drill mushroom from Wonder would actually work really well, because that would, like, if they want to have tracks be more dynamic in that way and more connected, you could have shortcuts that you can only find by like using the drill mushroom at a certain time and going under and boosting. I think that could actually be really cool. John, how about you get some of your ideas?
Well, I think for one, a new entry is gonna be like Wonder, where they go all out on visuals, all out.
Oh, yes.
They're gonna have some expectations from the movie, and it's gonna look beautiful. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen gameplay of Home Circuit, but the way Mario and Luigi are animated, it's really beautiful. They hold on to their hats whenever they boost. They're all flopping around. They fall asleep when you leave them idle. It's very cute.
That's actually a good point, because I think something that people are kind of underrating is that Mario Kart 8 has been around for 9 years, and we're all very used to the style. It still looks quite nice, but I'm looking at all these other Nintendo big series that have gotten big graphical refreshes recently, like Wonder with how expressive it is, or even something like Zelda or Pikmin, where we see them with these entirely new perspectives that make them look so much huger and more gorgeous. And I think that's something that the next Mario Kart could really do. Like, people are questioning how it's going to look different. And I think just a very first look with new Switch hardware and having like new shadows and lighting elements that make it look a little more real while also being a little more cartoony and expressive at the same time, kind of like the movie, would be just an instant glow up and honestly a good tech showcase for whatever the next Switch has specs wise.
And I mean, like, speaking of like Wonder and stuff relating to that, there's definitely a lot of ways stuff from Wonder could be integrated, like you mentioned with the drill mushroom, to add like more dynamic things to tracks.
I think it's another thing that we kind of forget about, is that usually a new Mario Kart ties in with the most recent Mario platformer. Like, we'll have all that Sunshine references and Double Dash. There'll be items from the latest ones. And we haven't had that in quite a while, both because Mario Kart's been on hiatus and even like 2D Mario kind of has been. And I think having that sort of tie in with the recent games like Odyssey and Wonder would be another thing that could instantly make this game stand apart. You have new item potential, but you also have new characters and mechanical ideas you can work in from those.
Yeah, I guess unless you guys have any other like main core ideas to propose, I could get into the other idea I have, which could dynamically change tracks.
Oh yeah, go ahead with your other ideas for like main mechanics.
Yeah, there was really only one other idea. I got this from a friend of mine, and we were talking about Mario Kart a couple weeks ago while we were prepping this discussion, and he proposed the idea that one way tracks might be able to change is integrating some sort of time travel element. And I
Hmm.
thought that could actually be like absolutely crazy.
That could be interesting. I mean, are you picturing like the entire race goes back in time, or are there being like portals where you can go to past versions and be like separate from the rest of the track? What are you picturing with that?
I feel like you could go either way with like the courses dynamically changing. Mainly visually, but in some ways route wise, just throughout the track, kind of like Sonic CD style.
Oh, okay.
Or just having the tracks be like characterized as like you have the past ones and you have the future ones.
I think that could be cool, yeah.
So you have like past and future versions of all the tracks which have like completely been changed, but you can like see signs of differences.
That would be cool, actually. Yeah. I mean, I think one that's like actually a good point in terms of having just courses be more dynamic and having time of day mechanics. Even that would be kind of cool.
Oh, yes, and weather.
Yeah, weather. Yeah, it's a really great point because Sunset Wilds they butchered it in Mario Kart 8. But imagine if like most courses in the next game could have just even like the sun just moving across the sky, like dynamic lighting, like as you go through a course, it just make it seem like time is passing. And then sometimes it can even affect the gameplay, like having dynamic weather or something similar to Bowser's Fury, where maybe like a giant boss shows up in the background and acts as a hazard. I think that could work really well.
I'd say, like, in general, just making the courses feel more dynamic and interconnected and everything like that seems to be one of the core ways that they could make this more interesting, both through the analog of a story mode and just throughout the tracks themselves.
Yeah, just having a more contextualized world for everything, having it all feel more alive. I mean, isn't it nuts that the entire Splatoon series has been released since Mario Kart 8? And those games are all about the world building for their online gameplay, and their online gameplay being contextualized within the world too. So, isn't it crazy how Mario Kart 8's online hasn't been updated in so long and it's still not good? I think that's another thing they can actually take from if they want to make this game more dynamic and like alive is having an online infrastructure that actually makes sense and incentivizes customization and like meeting up with people more. I think that's another big thing they could do.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that the online could definitely use some tweaking, just to relate to things in the same way Splatoon does. I don't have a ton more to say on that, but I feel like it could definitely be interesting.
Yeah, John, do you have any thoughts on the online or like dynamic aspects?
I don't know how much y'all have ever played ARMS, but ARMS has really fantastic online, and that would fit right in with Mario Kart. I cannot tell you how much that it's just like the design is just integrated with Mario Kart, but it's in a fighting game for some reason.
I mean, same developers. That's like there's been so many games that have released both from Nintendo as a whole and the Mario Kart developers since 8 that I think ARMS is another good example of one that they could integrate stuff from. Like the party crashes are a really good idea and kind of how I would picture a Mario Kart take on Splatfest to be if you have or I guess more fittingly the what are they called in tour? The like
Team
character
rallies?
yeah, the team rallies. But like that but actually good where you like choose between two characters and everyone who's racing is on a different team. That would be another great idea for keeping the online aspect more alive and more interactive, getting people encouraged to come back even if there's not new courses or anything.
Thank you for bringing up ARMS because there is so much to talk about there. Because, like, you have the whole lobby system. The lobby system in ARMS is way better than Mario Kart because you literally have, like, a training room within the game.
Mhm.
And that's something I could see really being integrated into Mario Kart as something to pass the time in lobbies, too.
I like the idea of there being like some sort of like training course where it's just like a really long strip that just keeps going, or maybe like just one big circle and you can just keep going around and like trying out tricks while you're in there.
I'm glad to see Excite Bike will be coming back in the next game.
uh,
Oh
you know
no.
how I feel about Excite Bike. I think it's mid, but I mean, okay, actually, I wanted to bring up an idea I've had. This is probably a good time since we're talking about how the online infrastructure and making the game more dynamic. And this is an idea I've had for a while, but also might be easily misinterpreted. So, Nintendo has been kind of pushing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as an esport lately, giving it like actual 6v6 tournaments with prizes. And that's interesting because Nintendo doesn't like tournaments, especially recently. But people also kind of brush off the idea of Mario Kart as an esport because it's so luck based. But if you watch these 6v6 tournaments, you see there's actually a lot of strategy with people like choosing items and staying in certain placements to get certain items to smuggle up to the top and have their whole team get to the front running and get the best points. I think it's really interesting to watch. And my pitch isn't to make a competitive Mario Kart game because I think that'd be dumb because most competitive kart racers are just not as fun as Mario Kart. But I think just a little bit leaning into that aspect of strategy and teamwork that's always been there but not as emphasized could be really exciting to casual and competitive players. So you could have parties you could join online to do team battles. You could have single player missions that teach you techniques like item smuggling that most people wouldn't know about. And this is the core point of my idea. I think a cool way to make this game stand out casually and competitively would be a double dash mode. Sorry, I know it's cliche, but I want a double dash mode back.
No, I can see a double dash mode. I think with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being like a Mario Kart Ultimate in terms of the base content in the game, as in like having like most of the characters from the series at this point back and having 96 courses, god fucking damn. But I think conceptually and mechanically, what this new game could do is iterate on a lot of ideas in the past of the series that really have kind of just been there. Like, you see that with mission mode, you could build that into a whole story mode, maybe even bring back like the online mission battles from Wii.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Team battles and anything relating to teams in Mario Kart has always been absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
So maybe finding a way to like make that slightly better could be another thing they do, and integrating double dash stuff could be part of that.
That would be really cool, yeah. John, what are your thoughts on the idea of double dash mode? I'm actually kind of curious about this.
Oh, well, I'm not the biggest fan of Double Dash, really, but
That's why I'm curious, yeah.
yeah, but I think maybe it could work. It's really hard to figure out how you would do the four players split screen, whatever, and how to integrate that online. Because that wasn't made with online in mind, really. But I think it could be maybe a fun side mode, like something smaller, sort of like Bowser's Fury is the 3D world, or Luigi U to New Super Mario Bros. U.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
I think that could maybe be something like you have a smaller selection of courses or items and make that into a double dash mode.
Okay, if we're talking about making the game more dynamic and tracks more dynamic, maybe Double Dash is something that could happen randomly as an effect in a race. So you just have to suddenly work with changing between two characters.
Oh, it's such a good idea.
That would actually be kind of awesome. I like that. You could even have like a double cherry item or something to contextualize that. I like that actually.
No, that's perfect. No. Double cherry item that brings in Double Dash. That's perfect.
Oh my, that is perfect actually. I like that.
That's perfect.
Oh my god. Yeah, we're geniuses here.
Jenny, you gave me this idea when you mentioned the double cherry in general as an item. I feel like having it integrated with this whole event of making Double Dash an event, or even like a separate mode, could be really interesting, because you have this double cherry, and double cherries, they aren't something you can just use once. So, like, of course, it's going to start with Double Dash, and you have each character trying to build one other character into their cart, but it can move past that. It can keep going. I guess you could have, like, a separate Double Dash mode where you're playing just with two carts and it doesn't build anything beyond that. For battle mode, you could have a whole double cherry theme mode, like Double Cherry Blast. And then basically every character starts with a double cherry, and it's like two characters, but you have to try to take all those cherries away and gather all of them until you have like 24 characters in one cart. Every single time you gather another double cherry, it makes your cart slower, because the cart doesn't like grow or anything. You kind of just have to work off of it.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's like the disadvantage you have when you get bigger.
I love that idea actually, because then if you get 10 people and your cart has just is like super heavy, and like you can like run someone over instantly if you go into them. But if they hit you with an item, one of the cherries comes off, and you can steal it and add to your ring. So it's like a really like fucked up version of Balloon Battle, where there's like 10 people in one cart. That would be amazing.
It's fucked up Balloon Battle mixed with Mega Mushrooms.
Exactly. It's like it's sort of it's it would be a good technical showcase for the Switch too, as well, being able to just have these like 100 people in a race at once, like all stacked into like 12 carts. That would be amazing. I really like that idea actually.
And you know what I think with stacked up carts and double cherries and multiple characters? I think of the boss blob from 3D World.
Oh my god, yes, that.
And like getting into my interconnected story mode, that could be one of the boss fights. You have to like build up double cherries from him and just grow big and like knock him over.
I like that idea.
That'd be really cute.
And like, I mean, that's kind of what I think they should do with a double dash type mode, is because like, on one hand, I don't see Nintendo adding something like that and making it optional. It's just not like them. When they add a gimmick, they want you to forcibly use it. But also, I don't think double dash with the current state of Mario Kart with 12 people in one race and bikes and ATVs and cart customization, I don't know if it would work as well. But having it as like a third pillar, that's like a much more chaotic, but also in some ways a little more strategic version of Mario Kart, I think that would be perfect actually. Kind of of like what 8-player Smash is to regular Smash Brothers, where it's not a replacement per se, but it's just a fun way of making it more extreme if you want to play with a larger group.
And I mean, like with the double cherry and other items like that being tied into things like that, you could just, I think in general, having the idea of items that are integrated more into things could definitely be more interesting. Like you said earlier with the drill mushroom, it could bring in a lot of cool shortcuts, and it could even be like another version of the mushroom there. So just having items like that, which just completely change the dynamic of the tracks, could definitely be the route to go.
Yes, exactly. Like, basically having items that are a little more versatile, where you have to be a little more creative in their usage. Like the drill mushroom, you could use it as a mushroom. You could use it for a shortcut. You could use it to like spring from below someone. Like, I like that over items that are just, oh, this is a new way to hit someone. I'd be so down for them to just cut some of the fat of like the piranha plant and the boomerang flower, stuff that we've had for 9 years and kind of taken for granted that most Mario Kart games would have new item sets that would change up the balance.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, while we're on the topic of items, there's actually an idea I wanted to mention. One thing I wanted for a while is a sticky bomb. It's like a new bomb design that looks like pink and looks kind of like partially chewed up bubblegum. And when you throw it, instead of walking around, it just sticks to the ground. Or if you drop it behind you, it sticks to the ground. And if someone runs into it, it doesn't explode instantly. It starts counting down. And when it's done counting down, it'll blow up. In that time, you can knock into someone else and give them the sticky bomb and they can knock it back. Like basically the thundercloud from Mario Kart Wii, but not really annoying. I really want that. I think that would have so much chaos.
So the thundercloud, but you don't start with it, so you have to throw it to someone else. That's
Exactly.
perfect. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, I think that's how it works in the arcade game.
Yeah, like it would be so much fun just to leave it in the very precarious spot where like maybe next to an item box where a bunch of people are going to be there, so they're just bumping back and forth desperately. That's the kind of like chaos-inducing item that's versatile that I think would be perfect for the series.
That's what we need with items. Just items that, beyond those like core that we've had since like Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64, we need items that just change up the dynamic of the tracks.
Exactly, yeah. And like even like I'd be okay with some of the tour ones making it in. Like I think the tour version of the boomerang is less obnoxious to the other players than the one in Mario Kart 8, where it like circles around you. It's kind of a different niche. If we want to move on from items, there's another thing I want to bring up is characters, because one of the biggest, most controversial things of Mario Kart 8 was its character roster, and they just had to have like 3 rounds of DLC to make it good again. And I think now that we have a blank slate, that actually adds a lot of potential to cut the fat and add entirely new characters or ones that were only in tour and didn't make it to 8 Deluxe. So Marie, John, how about you tell us some of your character ideas for this new game?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, you could just be like me from like 2018 and have like 81 to 100 characters.
I
still can't believe that roster was just in one of your tour videos.
I didn't even know it was your roster. I just googled Mario Kart fan roster. It was one of the first ones there.
Which is even funnier, and it just shows. I've been doing Mario Kart concepts both like online and offline since like 2013.
Oh man.
And like people think that concept is like so out there. At least I was cooking something with that. It wasn't food, but I was cooking something. If you look at the stuff I did in like 2013, half the list was babies, and there were characters like Apey Kong and Cardboard Luigi. So I've come a long way. Now I have like another full roster concept that I've cooked, building off of that one that I did in 2018. Actually,
I'll post it on screen now. Yeah, because you have some. You have some interesting takes on here. Not all of them I agree with, but all of them very interesting.
Yeah, I feel like there's some here which inarguably people aren't really going to be against. Like, you have some crossover characters there, which that's a topic for later. In terms of new characters, you have Egad and Pianta, who are like ones that have been requested for a while. And then you have like most of the characters from Tour that people liked and didn't really have any specific qualms with, or weren't like just the ones people were huge on bringing back in general. I'd say like
I wish King Bob made it into the booster pass, but I mean,
God, please. King Bob and Charging Chuck feel so shafted. Poochie too.
Poochie is like another one that has to make it into the next game. Nabbit is basically guaranteed, honestly.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the whole thing with Foreman Spike, because he'd be a big part of the story mode. But we also have Eggplant Man, who I think not everyone here might have even remembered.
I wasn't sure who that was. It's the purple one, right?
Yeah, no, the little purple guy. He was also in Wrecking Crew, and I think that's one of the things you could maybe integrate into the post-game of a story mode. Maybe, like, you know, after you beat Spike, you could have some sort of Wrecking Crew course, and in the post game you could race Eggplant Man in that and unlock him.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah,
and I guess like getting into characters that are integrated directly into tracks. I want to see a Thwomp driving a car, and I want there to be a mission in the story mode where you have to free Marty and you unlock him as a costume.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah, I'm picturing like you like throw an item at the jail and it breaks open, and then you have to like escort him through the rest of the. Oh, that would be amazing.
It just needs to happen. Like we've had like most of the cut or host characters brought in at this point, and just them referencing that would make me so happy.
Yeah, John, thoughts on the character roster Marie shared, or any other ideas you'd have?
I mean, the character roster, you got Fishy Boo Bookins in there, the green Spike.
Yeah, I've got 2 different Spikes. I really wanted to go like a bit wacky and insane with this. I didn't trim the fat as much as either of you have in terms of your concepts, I think.
Yeah. I cut the Koopalings for mine. I do think they could return because even though they're not super popular, like in Tour, they are literally like the worst characters you can get. So I think they know that they're not the most popular, but they are like the antagonists of the Mario Kart ride at Universal. And I'm using the Universal ride in the movie as like basis for like half of these concepts. But I cut the Koopalings. I cut Baby Rosalina. I love Pink Gold Peach, but I cut her. And since I'm basing my roster with like a Mario Kart Double Dash idea where everyone comes in pairs, what I did is I kept Baby Mario and Luigi and Peach and Daisy because little kids like to play as them, and it might as well at least keep the ones that are canon. And then I replaced Pink Gold Peach with Gooigi because I think that's a much more fun concept, being able to turn into goo and have these unique animations. And Metal Mario can stay because he is also like sort of popular compared to the others. And otherwise, like I just think having all the Tour unique characters in, like King Bomb, obviously, and then having a few unique new enemies. Like I really want Ninja. I think Ninja's really underrated as a Mario enemy.
I really wanted to put in Ninja.
Yeah, and Goomba. Goomba needs to be playable.
Okay. Goomba is cool, but it would be so funny to have like a para Bitty Buddy in the big Bitty Buggy. Just, like, continue the pattern with that.
Oh yeah, Bitty Buggy would also be very funny. And I do have Spike on my roster because I like the idea of Lakitu and Spike as a duo. I have a few new crossover characters in mind, actually. And that's actually probably a good transition to talk about the crossover characters because...
No, wait. I do have one more character to talk about before we do this. We have to mention that I have the talking flower on my roster.
Oh yeah! How did I forget to mention that?
Yeah, I know. Okay. Wonder made me fall in love with those things. They are so stupid, and I need to see one of them commentating during a race driving a kart.
I like the idea of everyone else just does their usual voice clips while the talking flower is like having conversations as he's going. He's like, "Ooh, what a nice, lovely day. Oh, there's a nice breeze today. Oh, clouds are coming in."
It'd be really funny if you had like more than like 2. They'd start talking to each other. Like, you know how in the beginning of the race, when it's kind of loading and everyone's just standing there before the countdown. It'd be funny if they were like, "Oh, hello."
And there should be specific audio for like specifically getting hit with certain items. Like if you get hit by a super horn, it's like, "Oh, you think you can be louder than me?"
I wonder what blue shells taste like.
I wonder what blue shells taste like. That's what it could say sometimes when a certain item is coming up. Like, a red shell's approaching you and it just says, "I wonder what red shells taste like."
You'll find out soon.
Oh, I don't know if y'all watch him, but Troy, TW98, when he does Flounderfest with Nick, he'll go like, "Potassium" or "Blueberry pie" when they're throwing items. I think that's exactly what the talking flowers need to be like.
I love that. And like if we're cutting some of the babies, we'll need some new light characters. So having Talking Flower as like the lightest character in the game would be perfect.
Talking Flower's stats should just be like incredibly high acceleration to an almost ridiculous point.
He's like the Pichu of Smash Brothers. He's just like or of Mario Kart. Like he's just the most ridiculously light character where he's either the worst possible choice or sometimes the best possible choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot Talking Flower. But Nintendo Kart, do you think this game should go all in on crossover content like 8 almost did, or you think it should be a similar ratio to 8 where it's just a few characters, or you think they should go back to pure Mario? So John, you go first.
Me personally, no way. I would cut every crossover. Get that out of here. I'd keep it like Tour, just have Mario in it. That's perfect. You don't need a whole lot. It's just, that's how we got King Bob-omb. That's how we got Nabbit. That's how we got Dixie. Why change it for something different or something like that, you know?
I don't disagree. Yeah, I think I want to stay on a similar ratio because I think having a little bit is kind of fun. But I'm also like firmly against the concept of Nintendo Kart specifically because then at that point it's not Mario Kart. It just becomes Smash Brothers. Like Mario Kart is its own series with its own identity. It's reflected through its character choices and track designs and items. And I think you would lose a lot of that if you started doing full Nintendo Kart with Pokemon and Fire Emblem and Xenoblade. Like no, the current ratio is fine. Keep Link, maybe add Zelda, keep Animal Crossing and Splatoon, and maybe add Pikmin because Pikmin 4 was such a big hit, and maybe like Captain Falcon as a fun little side one, or Kirby if you want to go a little crazy. Like not quite as extreme as you, but I do get it.
Yeah, and I'm a little more leaning towards the increase the crossover characters a bit size, but the main thing I'd want to make it stand out from Smash Bros. Is to have them clearly integrated into the Mario world. Whether they do that from like some weird Yoshi's New Island shit, or just having like, oh hey, the characters are coming to visit, I feel like integrating them would definitely be an interesting approach if you're gonna add a few more.
Yeah, like you mentioned your story mode idea, just having like pipes that lead to a new Zelda course or to the Animal Crossing course.
Yeah, and I had the idea of maybe Super Bell Subway coming back and being a big part of the hub, and you could even have secret routes there that get unlocked after you beat the story mode. And that's how you access crossover stuff, and like conceptually I had it as like a third set of cups beyond Nitro and Retro, where it's like secret courses that are mainly crossover stuff, but also a few of the courses that are harder to naturally integrate into the environment, like Wario's Coliseum or Dragon Driftway. So having those be like post-game courses makes sense to me. But I guess like in terms of specific characters that could be integrated, the new ones, I need to see Kirby. I'm like, of course, the biggest Kirby fan who ever Kirby'd.
I was iffy on Kirby at first just because I like the idea of it staying to like the in-house Nintendo ones. But, you know, Kirby is also the peak character design, and I just think you put him in there. I think he would fit in pretty well there.
Kirby would be nice. I like having Kirby. And then the other character I have is Olimar, because like Pikmin obviously needs to be integrated. They're trying to make it a bigger thing. We need a Pikmin course. It would just work so well.
When I'm thinking of like homegrown Nintendo franchises, and like they already have like Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing, and I think Pikmin's honestly like the next in line for that. And I even think it could have a really cool course, because if we mentioned having like more dynamic courses earlier, having a Pikmin course that like starts at day and it's very peaceful, and then like on the last lap or halfway through it becomes night and a bunch of monsters pop out, kind of like Pikmin 4 having night expeditions. That would be such a cool course concept, even beyond just the Pikmin theming.
Yeah, that could just be great. My final concept that I have, which only really works if they decide to go that Diddy Kong Racing route and have like full-on planes instead of gliders sometimes, is having a free-flying Star Fox course.
That would be cool.
Fox and maybe Falco as characters.
They both came in around the SNES era, Mario Kart and Star Fox. So I think at least having an R-Wing glider themed kart would be cool.
Yeah, just some sort of homage.
I think like a lot of my ideas, like in terms of having a lot of characters, having like a double dash mode, comes from I think it would be really nice if this new Mario Kart game focused on individuality, like because we've already mentioned online a little bit how they should expand upon it. And like another thing to learn from Splatoon is that there's a big deal in making a character customized to be your own, and you can't do that in Mario Kart. But if you have a ton of different costume options for each character and have unique karts that I guess they probably keep kart customization. I personally would be fine if they at least get rid of tires, because I hate having to wait for people to choose every single kart piece. But yeah,
they probably won't get rid of it fully because of the movie. But yeah, removing tires.
Yeah, because like it's too iconic of a thing. They referenced it in the movie and stuff, but I'm also just tired of having to like wait for everyone to scroll through all their things, and it'd be difficult to remove gliders anyway.
Yeah, but removing tires would be very easy considering... Okay, personally, since Mario Kart 8 came out, I have used Cyber Slick tires every single race, and I have not changed it. It's been 9 years, and I have stuck to the exact same thing, and I think that says something.
Like, I think, like, I just miss the days of, like, Mario Kart Wii, where you just choose your kart, and that also led to better kart designs, usually, and maybe even have gliders be something you select, like, within the beginning of a race or something. I think that would be a big help, too.
Yeah, just, like, going the ARMS route and having, like, free selectable gliders that are in, like, your customization menu and streamlining it a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ARMS, you know, it's molded from the same guys. It fit perfectly. You just maybe adjust a few things here and there, like how ARMS, you can set that whole giant list of ARMS, you know, maybe just cut that down for kart parts, and it worked perfectly.
What if we gave the carts arms?
I don't like that. I don't.
Give the
No,
carts
no, no,
arms!
no, 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 no. Oh, that'd be really cool if you had like a spring boxing glove. It could push people away. Like it
That
doesn't
would
spin
be an
people out,
awesome item,
but it
actually,
hits
a
people. It just
boxing glove
pushes them
item.
away.
That would
Okay,
be.
hear me out, hear me out. New battle mode. So we already have the double cherry battle mode, which is already completely insane. But arms battle mode for
Oh my
Mario
god.
Kart.
You're just smacking each other.
Instead of getting items, and instead of having drifting, the ZL button and the ZR button are designated to arms, and you have to beat the shit out of the other
that
characters.
sounds insane. I like this. Yeah, battle mode is something I don't play battle mode that often, just to be honest. But I kind of want them to just keep leaning into insanity with battle mode, which they kind of started with 8 Deluxe. Maybe have a few of the quality life changes from tour, but like just lean into insanity for that type of mode.
And also bring back elimination as an option.
Yeah, God. They have to. Like just having that, like, yeah, just having those customization options that are kind of missing right now. And like on that note, I should have mentioned this earlier with characters, but have it where you can like unlock costumes in a shop. The coins you get in a race, you can spend in a shop and get cool costumes like Biker Wario or Builder Mario or like one of the cool like Rosalina or Pauline ones from Tour. Just go in on that where people can choose their unique favorite costume and play online. It kind of shows off your personality.
Yeah, giving like at least every character at least like one costume, and the ones that have a bunch to reuse from Tour a couple more could be interesting.
I could totally picture like Mario when you like select him, kind of like how when you select Yoshi, you have 9 color options. Like you select Mario and there's like 9 costume options because he's such an everyman. And then maybe like King Babam probably would only have like 1 costume option, but you could do something fun with that, like have like Pirate King Babam or something.
You could have Pirate King Babam, or you could do like a classic N64 style one.
That would be fun, yeah.
And then, like, maybe with a character like Wiggler, you could reference, like, the green Wiggler from Sunshine, and then maybe throw in Flutter.
Oh yeah, that'd be cute. I like the idea if they have the Koopalings, to have all 7 of them have a different costume that's like themed to a specific course, like kind of like how they're in their different fortresses in their own mainline games. Like, there's a lot you could do with that too. Just going in on like the immersive world, the interconnectedness, the character customization, just taking the notes from Splatoon and ARMS and Mario Odyssey and Wonder that have all been building up over the years and just combining them, because that would just feel such a huge jump after 8 Deluxe that people are kind of missing when they get so fixated on just the fact that 8 Deluxe has 96 tracks.
Yeah, because there's just so much you could do with this, where it's just like, you build on concepts, you make things more interesting in other ways, you give the game a more integrated world like Double Dash had, and you build up from a lot of the things that Mario Kart hasn't really completely succeeded at. And having those interesting gameplay changes is way better than just doing the same exact game again and adding 96 tracks again. And it's like,
Exactly,
oh hey,
yeah.
Waluigi Pinball is back a 3rd time. Coconut Mall, you like Coconut Mall? Here's more Coconut Mall.
I get why people think 96 courses is too much to compete with, but all these other changes combined would just, I think they would make a huge difference in the long run. People will see it and be like, okay, I get what we're missing. Although before we wrap up though, are there any retro courses in particular that either of you want to see back? How about John, you start?
I almost forgot about this earlier, but I remembered it luckily. But I know exactly what they're gonna do. Is this game's gonna come out either like 2024 or 2025? One of the first retros they're gonna have is gonna be LA, and it's gonna work out perfectly because that's, I think 2024 is when the Olympics is in LA.
Oh wait, no, that's
So
2024 is the Paris Olympics, so it could still work. You just do Paris.
is it okay? Yeah, switch it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have Paris and LA as DLC. They're gonna be smart and they're gonna do that. I know people are gonna be like, tour tracks aren't gonna be be retro courses. No, I'm confident about this.
It makes sense because they had when Tour was still going, they had a Los Angeles Laps tour come out on the weekend of the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, and the new character was Charge and Chuck. So they've themed stuff to sports events before. I like that idea a lot, actually. Tour is definitely gonna have Piranha Plant Pipeline. I kind of assumed the reason it wasn't in the DLC is because they wanted to just save one for the next Mario Kart.
A lot of people were definitely arguing that Piranha Plant Pipeline isn't an enjoyable course. I personally am a massive fan of it, but that's because Piranha Plant Slide, or Piranha Plant Pipeway, I think it's called in other regions.
It's so confusing. So confusing.
It is confusing. But yeah, Piranha Plant Slide is like one of my favorite tracks in the series. And just seeing a version of that also acknowledges a beta Mario Kart DS track is something that makes me incredibly happy, even if the design is unideal.
I think it's kind of a boring course, but also I think it kind of had unfair expectations being like the last new course in Tour, besides maybe Madrid. I think it'd be fine like Shell Cup or Flower Cup. I think it would be pretty popular in there. I mean, I don't want them to leave it behind forever either, so I think it'll make it in. I think a lot of those courses that have never returned in any Mario Kart game are going to be in. Like Toad Factory is finally going to have its time. Mushroom City is finally going to have its time. Wario Stadium in 64.
No, no.
It's gonna
I'd
happen.
almost rather have N64 Sherbet Land again.
Oh, no, you don't.
Okay, I don't. I hate that track. Forget I said that.
Completion. We just need the completion sake to have Wario Stadium. I just want them to prioritize tracks that have either never returned or have only returned once. So like I would also take like Delfino Square that hasn't returned since Wii.
Please, Delfino Square.
Or like Dry Dry Ruins that was only in Tour. I think you got to bring that over. Like just I don't want Waluigi Pinball for a third time, like you said, or Coconut Mall. I want them to really emphasize courses that have either never returned ever or ones that just haven't returned that often.
Okay, I have like a full concept, and I'm probably going to end up rambling about that a bit. So before I do, John, is there anything else that you want to say on this?
No, I don't really think so. I think we mostly got what I was going to say out. Besides, no, yeah, we mentioned Delfino Square. Yeah, basically the same thing that Jenny said is they're going to try to get everything out that was only in one game, or like throw in a few SNES tracks, a few GBAs, stuff like that.
Yeah, my concept is a bit more all over the place. Okay, we have the free sectioned off thing like I mentioned before with the hidden cups, the nitro cups, and the retro cups. But in terms of like major retro courses, we do have stuff like Toad Factory, but we also have some stuff from Tour, which I really think should have been in the Booster Course Pass, like Airship Fortress and Frappe Snowland. But the ones I mainly want to highlight are, I guess, Mushroom City and Toad Factory, because those are ones that really need to return that haven't appeared at all before.
100%.
And I guess another topic, which should be something that we talk about, is what courses from like Mario Kart 8 and Tour do you guys think deserve to return? Considering we've been seeing those tracks for years now.
Oh, the priorities? I think Cloud Top Cruise will probably be in, because that's such an iconic course for 8. It's not my favorite, really, but it is one that's very associated with the game. On that note, honestly, this is another thing I'm basing off of the Mario Kart ride. Like, these are ones that are featured in the ride. They want people to keep remembering them. So I also think maybe like Dolphin Shoals, even though I also don't like that course that much.
I like Dolphin Shoals. I don't think it's going to return, though.
You don't think so? What do you think?
I think mainly with Mario Kart 8 courses, a lot of the ones they're going to bring back are the crossover ones. So I have Excite Bike Arena in here. I know you guys love that track.
God.
I have Big Blue as a crossover course because I have 2 F-Zero courses in here, but Big Blue is just way too iconic to not bring back. And then, other than that, I'd say mine are very interestingly scattered, because you have Dragon Driftway, which is a very fun track and one that thematically feels like something that should come back immediately, I think. You have Super Bell Subway, which is something I mentioned earlier as being fully integrated. And you have Swamp Ruins, which, I don't know, they usually have some sort of Mushroom Cup track in there.
Swamp Ruins is underrated, in my opinion.
It's so good. It's such a good track, and I think it's definitely worth being a first-time returner.
Yeah, I think Sunshine Airport's another one that has a good chance, because it's like probably the most popular Nitro from 8, original 8 at least. And yeah, I actually did have a few crossover runs returning too, because at least the way I split up my fan concept was it was like 4 Nitro Cups, 4 Retro Cups, and then 2 crossover cups.
So kind of
one of the
to me.
Yeah, and like one of the crossover cups is retros, and one of them is the new courses. And I had Animal Crossing returning, because I can't really imagine what else you could do with an Animal Crossing course to make a new one. I had Mute City returning.
I mean, you could do something based on New Horizons, maybe.
That's true, yeah, like an island. But I also wanted to have the Woohoo courses come back, because those didn't even come back in Tour. So bring those back.
Oh yes, please, I love those tracks. They deserve to come back so much.
Is that all you had about courses, Marie?
Well, there is, of course, the topic of which Bowser's Castle and which Rainbow Road they bring back.
Oh, true, I forgot about that. It's GBA is next in line, but I don't want it.
I want GBA. I think they could do a lot of fun things with it.
I guess so, yeah. I'm just like, I want one of the ones that has never come back and is more dynamic, because we got Wii and 3DS back in the Booster Course Pass, but I just keep looking at the sort of forgotten middle children, like the DS and GameCube ones, that I kind of want one of them to be in there. But maybe they could do two, or maybe DLC could bring in one of those.
DS is so underrated, it's Rainbow Road, but I think they're gonna probably save it for the game after this. As for GCN, I could see that either being the main Rainbow Road they do, or having it in as DLC.
That'd be a good pick. And for the Bowser's Castle, though, I only have one answer, and it's DS. DS has the best Bowser's Castle, in my opinion.
I am one of those people who prefers 64 Bowser's Castle, and also I kind of have to integrate it because I want to put in Marty the Thwomp in this game, so yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Honestly, I think they're gonna go for Wii Bowser's Castle and DS Rainbow Road because of the movie.
Ooh, I like that, actually.
Why does the movie make you think
'cause
that?
DS Rainbow Road is the only one with the giant spirals and the loop de loop or whatever they want to call it. That was in the movie. Everybody think that's part of Rainbow Road, but it's only been in DS.
You're right. Oh my god.
I would be totally... I kind of like the idea of them doing DS Rainbow Road and Wii Bowser's Castle, because everyone's debating if it'll be GBA or GCN, and they just skip both of them. That would be funny.
Especially because also everyone is like big into the idea of GCN Bowser's Castle, but I'm gonna be honest, that is one of the most overrated tracks in the series.
Oh, it is. It is. I agree.
It's not even that well designed, and if you want an interesting Bowser's Castle, which is exactly in that theming, Wii is way better.
I think the holy trinity of Bowser's Castles is DS, Wii, and N64.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Although it would be funny if they brought back 3DS, because it's actually the worst Bowser's Castle, in my opinion.
I hate that track too, and it's also just the most mixed one, so if you want people to get randomly pissed off for no reason, 3DS Bowser's Castle is definitely the way to go.
I really hope they add some of the lame courses that people don't want to come back, that have never come back. So add Wii Luigi Circuit, 3DS Cheap Lagoon, Figure 8 Circuit. Just add all
not
those...
Cheap Lagoon.
I think that would be funny
if we want a boring course, we can have Mario Circuit 4, and we can have
that's not a boring
Cheap
course,
Cheap
though.
Island or one of the random GBA tracks that people don't like that much. Please don't make me endure Wario Stadium or Cheap Lagoon.
Okay, well here's the thing though. I want there to only be they can have 2 Wii courses at most, because I like Wii and I like the Booster Course Pass, but I am really tired of Wii courses coming back.
Yeah, I also have 2 in my concept because I really don't feel like there's much more you could do.
No.
Unless you want to be really annoying and put in one of the most boring tracks in the series.
They should literally just add Luigi Circuit and Mario Circuit as the Wii rap.
That would be so funny. Just everyone going into Wii hype, and then you just go into this game and you have the 2 most boring tracks from Mario Kart.
And they don't
Wii.
even do Toad Factory.
And no
They're
Toad Factory still.
That would be funny. Okay, we've been doing this for a while now, though, so let's probably try to get this wrapped up. So last topic, John, when do you think this game will be coming out?
Ooh, that is a good question because I kind of doubt it comes launch year because people say, "Oh, it's Mario Kart's time to be a launch title," but no, they always take their time. And now I think Mr. Yabuki, the director for Mario Kart 8, I think he's doing the hardware for the next console. I don't think it's going to be ready quite yet. I think it's 2025, 2026.
Damn, there's not going to be much variance because I completely agree.
I agree
think there's
too.
definitely some people who have been chipping away at it since Booster Course Pass was starting to cool off and Tour was starting to cool off. I'd say it probably started development in late 2022, but I think they're going to take their sweet time with this. They want this to be they want this to be handled well. They want this to look great. And with the Switch 2 likely having backwards compatibility, you'll still have Mario Kart 8 there, and it just finished getting updates. So there's no reason to do it right away. So I'd say yeah, wait until 2026. Have that be the crazy year where we get an insane Mario Kart game and a couple other games which aren't going to be launch year or super early for the Switch 2.
Okay, I think it's gonna be later, but I don't think 2026. I think the Switch 2 is gonna launch next year in September. It's too early. It wouldn't be any earlier because they still have games coming out, like Peach, and they would have had to announce it already. But I also don't think it's gonna be any
I see
any
it
later.
as September or October.
Yeah,
too,
September or October is when they're gonna launch it. It'll be with a 3D Mario or Donkey Kong or something. I don't think Mario Kart's gonna be launched at all because it won't have even been a full year since Booster ended. I think it's gonna be holiday 2025 for the new Mario Kart. So
Yeah.
2 years since the last update, and like if they started development in like early 2022 or late 2021, that'd be like 4 years of development, which is like pretty long, not as long as some games, but it's also Mario Kart, so like that they have a basis already. I think 2025 makes the most sense to me.
Honestly, not to
Hmm.
get into general Switch 2 speculation, but one of the main reasons why I'd want them to wait is because if we have a Switch 2 launch at the time everyone's thinking, and it comes to a 3D Mario, I think that would be the perfect time to give a homage to the Super Nintendo launch and also throw in something F-Zero, and I don't want that to be overshadowed by Mario Kart.
No, the Something F-Zero will be Mario Kart. You will have Port Town as a stage, and that'll be it.
Man, I mean, at least we got F-Zero 99, so we'll see. Maybe F-Zero will come back.
We'll get Captain Falcon playable in Mario Kart, and that'll be it. Okay, well, we really went through all this now. Marie, John, thank you both so much for coming on. Both of you had some really good insight on the series, very different opinions on where the series could go. That gives us all a lot to think about and speculate about. I had a lot of fun. So, Marie, where can we find you after this?
Okay, you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is MarieMoments. I'm guessing it will probably be linked in the description or something. You can also find me on Twitter, where you'll probably see me rambling about things more. I'll put out a video eventually. I have ideas. I want to do it. But yeah, no, you can mainly find me on YouTube and Twitter, or you might see me in a Discord server rambling about the fact that my Mario Kart roster that I made in 2018 is actually kind of good.
All right. And John, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TruelyJohn64. I think that's what my ad is. I don't remember. Or you can find me on like 50 Mario Kart modding discords and be like, hey, it's that guy I know. Or you could maybe find me on another account, maybe, but that's all I'll say here.
Ooh, yeah. So thank you both for coming on, and I had a great time, and I'll see you all later, probably whenever they announce a new Mario Kart thing. So, bye everyone.
Later.
All right.